Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is MiAh the King, and for today we're taking a look at a game on Steam that came out a couple days ago called Grand Guilds, developed and published by Drix Studios. Another game that I've been looking for, and another game that somehow got under my radar because I just realized this game was released yesterday, and then I had to buy it, install it, play it, analyze it, write the script for it, edit the video, post the video, and then advertise the video, and all while my mother is visiting, and coronavirus going around making zombies, and my wife is still working even though we're on lockdown for 30 days. It's a lot. Alright, be patient, and forgive me for being a day late on this one. Hey, since we're talking about it, how about doing me another favor? Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It only takes you 2 seconds and costs you nothing but helps me out immensely. Also, you won't be bothered unless you hit the bell, so there's that. And maybe leave me a comment too while you're at it. There. Now that I've got that obligation out of the way, let's get on with the game and take a look at it and see if it's worth a damn. So, first off, it's $20, American dollars. I have no idea how that translates to other countries. And people have been telling me that you can't review a game with its MSRP in mind. That's ridiculously dumb and short-sighted. Of course you can. After all, you're not going to pay $60 for Fallout 76 again, are you? How about a free mobile game riddled with microtransactions? Are you going to get rid of the free and make it a $60 game? What about $60 for a 2-hour DLC? Or for just a demo? No. No one would do those ludicrous things. Why? Because the price is ludicrous for those items. Obviously. With that in mind, price is a very big factor in reviewing a game. The price must match the length and quality of the game, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. But for $20, what should you be expecting? Well, in most cases, I'd say a fun, casual game that you can sink hours upon hours into, that's probably worth $20. I think a good DLC could be worth $20. Basically a game that's 4 hours or longer, we're looking around $20, and it's got to be, somewhat decent. Now, other factors are important, such as quality in graphics, stability, replayability, sound, story, content, originality, and the list keeps going. But for this game, well, is this one worth $20? Well, the short answer is yes. Technically speaking. This game is worth its $20 asking price. You get what you pay for, let me put it that way. The game is interesting. You start off playing as this captain of the Royal Guard named Eliza. She's a spunky little thing with real balls. In other words, she's a beast, not afraid to get her hands dirty or break an arm or two. She's protecting her liege from some assassins, and things go wrong. Suddenly there's a time skip, and now it's 7 years later, and she's a head honcho of some popular guild. The game focuses around guilds, by the way, and their benefits and expansions and whatnot. But then you're instantly thrust into another battle with bandits this time. You beat them, and then you go looking for tea leaves. And then a wild skeleton suddenly appears. You destroy them, and then move on to the guild, where a wild necromancer appears. You destroy him, and then chase him into the woods. More skeletons appear. You destroy them, and the necromancer. Then he transforms, and a wild reaper appears. You destroy it, and then head back home. Noticing a pattern here? You go somewhere, fight something, go somewhere, fight something, go somewhere, and fight something. And you're going to do this over and over and over again. The combat is fixated around card play, by the way, so if that kind of combat turns you off, then this game isn't for you. Just want to go ahead and say that right off the bat. Either way, it says it's a story-driven game, but that term is so loose that you could use it for anything. Even Fallout 76 is technically story-driven, since you get your story to progress further in little bits that push you to a new area. It clearly doesn't mean much anymore. But, I don't know. The card combat doesn't annoy me so much, not enough to turn me off on a game. It's pretty much the story I stick around for when it comes to most games, to be honest. And if I enter a game knowingly without any story, then, I adjust my expectations so I can still learn to enjoy the game if it's worth it. But I entered this game expecting more storytelling, maybe some more depth, but unfortunately I didn't really get that. And what really gets me about this game is that it plays like it's in early access. But unless Steam changed its store page recently, the game says that it's fully released. But it's clearly broken and missing things, so how is this a full release? Well, I don't know, maybe I can help the developers by pointing out some of the broken things about their game. It's lacking in sound effects, first off, At least I hope they're missing and not just awful. I mean, casting magic spells and listening to the magic being summoned, tossed, and slamming into an enemy just sounds terrible. I mean, it literally sounds like someone just took a water balloon and tossed it against the wall, a block away from you. And it sounds like that for almost every spell you cast. It's really annoying. Some of the other spells have unique sounds, but they all sound of really poor quality, scratchy or muffled or distant or whatever. The sounds of swords on metal sounds pretty good, I guess, but also pretty samey.
Right.
Know what I mean? Like, no matter what you hit, how or when, it sounds the exact same. The music, for the most part, sounds good. Now, the music itself does actually sound, pretty decent overall, but it has its own problems. Like it repeats at awkward moments, or it'll stop at random points that just draws attention to it. It'll cut in and out in a way that, well, like I said, just draws attention to it, and it's very poorly matched together, and it not timed very well, I guess is how to describe it in one way. The game lacks any kind of choice in its visual novel style, and its progression is pretty much non-existent. Same thing with customization. What about stability? Well, it was almost good. I mean, I was almost able to say that it was one of the positives, but damn it, if at the last 10 minutes hadn't had to happen, then... Okay, I was at my last 10 minutes of my recording. And so far, the stability was doing pretty good. It was a bit slow at times and a bit choppy at times, but I was thinking at the time that, early access, early release, not a big deal. But then those last 10 minutes, the damn game got so choppy, so slow, so sloppy that I was like, are you serious right now? I was almost done, just don't crash. And luckily it didn't crash, but it didn't stop its choppy slowness after this one cutscene either. From then on, it was just choppy as hell. It took it a while, but finally, by the time I managed to get to my next fight, the choppiness and the stuttering and the slowness stopped. But damn, it almost gave me a headache from how annoying it was. So, if this was an early access, I'd be a lot more understanding about some of these issues and focusing more on the overall, gameplay mechanics, overall story, overall, togetherness of all the components to make a game. But it being fully released and stating that it's fully released, then these are errors that they need to be addressed and fixed as soon as possible. Personally, I think the game could have waited a few weeks or months for some of these things to be fixed. But you know what? I think that's enough about bitching about it and pointing out all the annoyances and bad things about it, right? So let's go on to the good things. So the first thing that I noticed that I actually enjoyed was its graphics. Its graphics are pleasant. It kind of has a visual novel style to its dialogue, as I mentioned earlier, partial voice acting, and during combat, the fully animated motions of the characters were nice to look at. The graphics on your spells also looked really good. Basically, just everything looked really nice. The combat itself isn't too bad, actually, when you think about it. Its card style of combat is a bit wonky, but I've seen it before, so it's not a big deal to me. Not enough to influence whether or not I leave a game or not. It was simple enough to learn, but it can get more complicated for more dedicated players, with you making your own decks and collecting new cards and skills and such later on in the game, so, there's something here for everyone. Also, no weird things or annoyances with the combat, like no getting stuck on random things or weird mapping or just, random stuff like that. So, it was just the sounds that were messed up. Now, what about the story? Well, at the very least, this game did have an opening cutscene, unlike the last game I did on my channel. As for the story, well, it's a bit bland and basic. It doesn't really have a lot of depth. It's not very original, but there is a lot of effort put into it, and they created their own world, hell, their own lore, their own history. I mean, it clearly has a lot of effort put into it. I don't have issues with the story itself, but I think my issue lies just with the telling of the story. Not enough depth, I think. For a game like this, its biggest thing should have been its story. But knowing that it feels like it's lacking, I don't know. Now, I mean, that may just be me, but whatever. The story itself, overall, isn't bad, but I feel like the storytelling part of it was lacking. Take a look at this game as a casual card-playing game with a little bit of story. Hell, after the first 40 minutes, you get a kind of free roam type of map traveling kind of thing where you can do guild quests, side quests, and main quests. So at that point, you have a bit more freedom to kind of do more stuff, but it's just more fights. Which reminds me, I think its XP system is broken or something. I noticed that as I was playing, several battles passed, and I watched the XP bar raise to a certain point, but then I'd go into a new fight, and then the XP bar is raising all over again from the beginning. So, like, 5 fights, no one gained any levels. I'm just confused by this. Maybe I missed something, and you know, if I did, please let me know, but otherwise, this is another bug that needs to be looked at, or another issue that needs to be addressed. Now, earlier, I said that $20 was a good asking price for this game, yet I've mentioned more negatives than I did positives. Well, allow me to go into that now. It's because, currently, the foundation is strong. If the devs put in some more effort and fix some of those problems I mentioned above, then this game is definitely worth its $20 asking price for all that it's giving you. A dynamic card combat system, interesting characters, personalized artwork, partial voice acting, a new world history story, a journey to go on. I mean, technically speaking, for $20, it's not a bad deal. And if this is your type of game, you know, go for it. So who knows? Maybe you might want to wait for some of these errors to be fixed first, and, you know, if you do, then I don't blame you. But when they are fixed, I'd highly recommend you guys take a look at this game, let it breathe a little maybe, let the devs take a breath, and then after they get back in and make the game more smooth and less unfinished, that's when you jump in and purchase. And maybe they never will, as well. You know, maybe after finishing the game, they're just going to move on and work on something else. And if that happens, then that's a damn shame, and it's definitely not worth the $20. Wait for a discount. And also, it might just be me. It could be that the game was just super shitty and broken for me, and not for anyone else. And if that's the case, then I guess I just got a really bad taste of this game, and, you know, if that is the case, then can you really blame me for thinking the way I'm thinking? But either way, that's all the time I got for this one, guys. If you liked what you saw and liked what you heard, then please, by all means, take a look at the game and give it a chance. But if you didn't like what you saw, and if you didn't like what you heard, then don't take that chance and just move on. Alright, everybody? Alright. Thanks a bunch for checking out my video. I hope I helped some of you out there save some money, and I hope to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.